We're Batman at 89. Greetings and welcome once again to Batminute 89, the show that bunkers down, creating an impenetrable fortress from within which we can investigate Tim Burton's Batman 1 minute at a time. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I am the other host, Niall McGowan.
Hello, Niall.
Hello, John.
Oh, good to have you back. And we are joined today by Gary Roby, who you will know from the Harry Potter Minute and Ferris Bueller's Minute Off podcasts. Hello.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for joining us. So, hope you're keyed up to talk some Batman.
Oh man, I am so excited to talk about Batman, you guys.
I think we've got this week's literally the most action-packed minutes we've had as well. Well, we had a car chase, but this one's proper fighting and stuff. It's
yeah,
it's genuinely there's so many weeks of people talking in rooms. Hey, because of action. So
because sometimes the action actually there's not a lot to say, but there's quite a lot going on we can get into with this. This minute in particular is minute 67. And it starts with Vicki screaming in terror, and it ends with the bat preparing to take flight.
But yeah, and as we see, this is the Batmobile is about to collide with a digger, or it's a digger, right? That's what this thing is.
I would say digger. I don't know. Is there another word abroad? That could be an English phrase.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if there's a technical term for that thing, something more specific than a digger, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. But we'll note that every other version of the script, it's supposed to be he almost hits a lamppost, which is that Batmobile would go right through a lamppost. I don't think that's going to worry him too much. So I think they must have been oh, we better get something that's a bit more physically imposing than just a little metal rod coming out of the ground, because there's no way he wouldn't drive through that. So
I've played that recent Arkham game. I've seen what the Batmobile does to lampposts. It just trashes the whole city, in fact.
And the thing is, though, I'm thinking at least this Batmobile, it can be slowed down by a digger. I was thinking if this was the modern Ben Affleck Batman, he would tear through that digger in seconds flat. I would be what, do we bump into something? I didn't even really feel it. Even it'd be oh, that truck driver, the guy driving it was in my way. And then he'd be his mother's name was Martha, and he'd be what? And just go into a hole. I failed him in life, I won't fail him in death, and all that stuff.
So sad and broody.
Oh God, broody every 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm. It's too much broody, I think.
That's the Batman way, to be fair. So
that's true.
Well, yeah,
it can be a lot.
You need to balance it.
Yeah,
but yeah, because they've had to screech to a halt. They've had to evacuate on foot now, which it introduces something. One of the more unfortunate elements of the film is shots of Batman running, where it's doesn't look as cool as he looks in other shots. He looks great when he's static, but when he's running, it's a bit as a guy in a costume running with and it looks like the cowl's a bit too heavy and it's kind of bouncing around, and he's kind of got the hands down by the sides and stuff, and
it's like a kid in a Halloween costume.
Exactly.
Yes. I was gonna say, have you noticed that for some reason, I don't know whether it's the lighting or what's going on, but his cape seems considerably cheaper looking in this scene. Have they replaced the cape with a much lighter one so we can easily move? Because it looks really bad.
That could have been exactly what they did.
Although actually, you've gone further ahead than I thought, because I initially, at the start of this minute as well, I was slightly confused by the brakes on this Batmobile, because that stops in an instant.
Yeah,
in a split second. It's bam. So I checked my technical specs for the Batmobile, thinking, I can dive into this, like I did last week. I can get all the info. And there's no mention, nothing to do with the brakes on any of these weird tech specs that tell you all the things, he's got a CD ripper in the... But it doesn't tell you about the damn brakes. Now, wouldn't that break your neck unless you were strapped in with, those seatbelts that go across your chest and everything?
Oh, well, maybe he has that. Maybe we're not. Oh, I guess we don't see any kind of seatbelt activity within. Yeah, we don't really know what he has actually, but Maybe it's just so he's got some kind of space age streamlined cockpit where it's like, oh no, you don't feel the G-force within or something. It's all he's managed to science that away somehow, or God knows, really.
Maybe. Because he clearly doesn't think some things through, though. I mean, the actual design of this Batmobile, it's so awkward to get in and out of. I mean, you've got to jump into it. There's no other way, is there?
Yeah, in terms of getting out, when he does exits, it's like it shows you chivalry ain't dead in Gotham. He stops and waits for Vicki and gives her a hand out, you know. He's like, well, yes, we've got the ladies here, I think it's just maybe anything. It could be more of a, we gotta get moving, and she's clamoring to get out. I better help her out of here. But,
yeah.
It's a lot of work to get out of the Batmobile.
Yeah. It's like after everything as well, he's just like, you really should have put a door in here. Technically, that's well, next one. All right, I'll put a door in the next one.
Well, then I got really upset as well because Vicki throws her shoes away, and whenever I'm walking like through town, it's maybe late on a Saturday night, I'll see a discarded shoe. There's always one. There's never two, and I get quite upset. It makes me feel really sad. It's like a lonely lost shoe.
I think that might be an explanation as to why we never see Vicki after this film, is because running through the Gotham alleys without her shoes on, probably some needles lying around there, you know, and it's just like, she didn't make it to returns. It was soon after this she got some unfortunate news from the doctors. But
So Gotham's a bit like Liverpool Street.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but I should actually, because I think this is the only time you'll get seeing the Batmobile this week, Gary. Is like, do you have any opinions on this iteration of the Batmobile? Or?
I think I had a toy Batmobile as a kid growing up, and I think it might have been this version of the Batmobile, actually, now that I'm looking back at it. I always loved the Batmobile, even though there's something so like beautiful about the car. It's very streamlined and very like almost like a drag racer kind of, but it always at the same time always felt so impractical as like a way to get around Gotham. So I don't know, I always went back and forth on it. I do think it's really sleek. I love, since we get to see the shields in this minute, I love the way it like hunkers down.
Yes, that's my favorite bit, the little animation on it as well. It's the most Tim Burton thing you could ever imagine. It looks like it's out of Beetlejuice or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although it really reminded me of like because it's the same era. I was thinking of like the Ed 209 from RoboCop or something. It had that kind of a vibe about it. But I think it's just any kind of mechanized stop motion of a machine will instantly go, oh, it's like the Ed 209 because that's just prominently placed in the front of my brain, you know? But,
You're just always thinking of that.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. But, as we said, so, yes, we're kind of, that is what happens next week. It's Batman's breaking in his Nike sneakers there. That he's I don't know if you know, Gary, but Batman does wear Nike sneakers in this, Nike boots. Because yeah, it's these because the product placement people came.
Oh, sure.
And they're like, can you put any Nike in just in the costuming of the movie? And they're like, well, we're going for this like 1940s aesthetic, but they kind of reached the compromise of like, oh, why doesn't Batman's bat boots? That could be like a pair of Nike that's just dressed up to be a boot. It's like, worked out pretty well.
I can't remember. We did discuss this, but I can't remember whether they actually had those on sale or not. It's completely gone out of my head.
I don't know, actually. That's a good question. We should look into that.
we did way back when, but I've completely forgotten.
I can't imagine too many people having the big shin guards and stuff coming up, but like maybe a more like a cut down version of it, maybe. But
hey, you're obviously just not living life, in the fast lane. You're not a rock and roller, Niall. Come on.
That is true. I am not a rock and roller. But again, just talking about the Batman's run, because I don't like.
He kind of trots. I think it's really silly the way he keeps his hands up kind of high, and I think you're just trying to keep the cape out of the way. Like he doesn't want to. Do you think it's long enough that he would step on it if he's not careful? I think it does. It drags on the ground if he's not like. I don't know.
He could. If he's running really fast and he's getting his knees up, I think he could trip
It
over.
looks like he's really trying to like keep from falling as he runs down the sidewalk here. I love it.
I like the way as well, like we could infer that that's not just, in the making of the movie, that's actually part of the character. Like Batman as a character is worried about tripping because he hasn't thought about it. Yeah, he's all about the image, isn't he? He wants to be scary, but he's not thought about, well, what if I need to run?
Yeah.
He probably thinks, well, I'm never going to need to run. I'm the scary one. They're going to run from me.
Yeah, they're going to run from me. Exactly.
Yeah. I know even when I'm playing like the Arkham games and stuff, I make a choice not to run because you can run, but I'm just like, nah, that's Batman. He strides. Like
Batman doesn't run anywhere.
Yeah. Even though like
he's smooth.
Yeah. It's just like he's just like, I don't know, I gotta get somewhere quickly. I can stride quickly. That's all. Like, I'm not gonna run. I'll tell you that. Yeah, but actually going in here to running into this alley, and of course does the shields, all that business, and this is actually where there's a deleted scene that you can get online, and it's one of those thank God they cut this scenes because it's terrible. At this point, Batman's supposed to come across a street urchin, like a little girl in the street. And it's when the Joker's goons they're still in pursuit. And apparently he grabs her, takes her out of harm's way and puts her in amongst, in amongst a pile of garbage, basically. But I guess, in the Gotham alleys, there's not much else to put her among. But then she looks up to him in amazement and goes, "Is it Halloween?" And he gives her a smile. He actually, like, it's a close up of Michael Keaton's face in the footage of him, like, smiling away through the mask. And then he takes off. And the scene then continues. But it's like, oh my God, thank Christ they got that.
Completely pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though I know the scene, when you said, she says to him, "Is it Halloween?" I was really hoping you were going to say, and then he gives her some candy. he just has it in his pocket, like, here you go. Yeah.
But some people online though are like, "Oh, they should have kept that in." But it's so tonally different.
Yeah,
from
it
everything.
breaks up this chase here. It's
just the fact that that's so
feels unnecessary.
That's so silly and lighthearted. Whereas this is more.
Yeah,
it is a more. This film has its silly moments as well, but it's much more. It's not like talking to little kids kind of silly. It's more like it's just weird, like that kind of silly.
Yeah. And I don't mind breaking up a scene, like a chase. Sometimes you can do that in a fun, interesting way. But what would be gained from that exactly? Like, what is the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for the story here.
No, or the character, or anything at all. Back at Batman, we haven't actually said, of course, they've ran down the alleyway, escaping the gangsters. But then Vicki screams once again as they swerve their car in and attempt to drive by on the pair. And for you gun heads, I've researched the gun that the goon here uses. Means nothing to me, but some of our listeners seem to care about these things. So he has apparently a Webley Mark IV. If that means anything to you, then you might be whooping and hollering right at your phone right now.
We're like, "Woo, Webley!"
Yeah, Webley. Everyone knows Webley.
Has it appeared prominently in any other films or anything, or is it?
No, not that I could really notice in particular. It's never been like the iconic gun of a movie.
Because it'll be one of those ones like it was in Shaft Goes to Africa or something like that. That's usually the way these things roll. But
well, then of course the car chases them down. And my first thought was, why does every major event in this town happen in an alleyway? Like, every single thing that's happening is in an alleyway. Or they call it an alleyway when it's clearly not, like the Wayne murder. That wasn't an alleyway. But yeah, nothing of any note occurs outside of that other than the chemical plant, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's just easy to control environment. Because it's like, it's not out in the wide blue yonder. It's kind of contained, and it's like... It's kind of like set conditions. You can kind of do, but plus two, it's just like the seedy back alleys are where all crime usually happens anyway. Yeah. So it's sort of it's lending to the grimness and the fact that this is Batman's playing field is.
Well, yeah, I suppose you could. Oh, sorry, go on.
I'd say it feels like dark and dirty, and there's like something I don't want to say sinister, but like scary about it.
Yeah.
This isn't a place you want to be.
Yeah.
I'm scared to go down alleyways anyway, and I don't live, in Gotham. And also, it kind of feels like, I guess you could say, Batman is at home there as well.
Yeah.
Like, that's Batman's world. He doesn't want all eyes on him, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the thing, because these goons, like the fact that like they've had the cabbage and crates crash into them, and they're like as you see them take off, and the guy running that truck's kind of shouting after them like, "Oh, you assholes!" Blah, blah, blah. But like they're really, to be fair to them, they are on this chase because they catch up with them like instantaneously. It's like within the blink of an eye, they're back on this fella, and of course, then as he turns one corner, finds us blocked off by a fence, and it's like, well, what's he gonna do here? What happens now? And he gets into the classic question of like, oh, has to ask Vicki, how much do you weigh? Which is
you don't ask a woman that.
No, I was gonna say, I don't think you're ever supposed to do that.
I know he's got a plan in mind, but even so, come on.
Batman doesn't care for your social faux pas. He just
Is there like presumably then a weight limit on this grappling hook? And if so, it's not very high because he's like, well, I gotta account for my weight and you. How much do you weigh? Like, there must be a fine line. If she had said like 120, that would have been too much.
Yeah.
I wonder, if she hadn't lied, she was like, I weigh like 112, and he would be like, oh. Just like, well, we're
just a little too heavy. We have to come up with something else.
Well, when she says 108, of course, I decided to translate this, so to speak, into our stupid English format because we are backward Stone Age people. And that would be 7.7 stone, Niall. So There you go. That's pretty light. That's very, very light. She needs to get some meat on those bones, maybe she...
That just makes you feel bad then for Vicki Vale even afterwards, because she's at a very she's very light, and yet she wasn't light enough for this to work. And then afterwards, when he gives her that little, oh, you weigh a little more than 108, it's like that's she's only presumably like a fraction over it. It's kind of like that's just like, well, it's still not good enough. You better get dieting, honey. It's really like, what a horrible message to send to Vicki Vale.
It's kind of terrible.
Screw you, Batman.
I'm actually gonna look in here to see if there's gonna be any information on Kim Basinger's weight. Just so I can see.
Oh no, you can't look that up. That's terrible.
Well, apparently,
I don't think you're gonna find that.
Although having Googled it, it's apparently available. I've not clicked on the site yet, but it is available through www.brasizesmeasurements.com.
What?
I think that's best avoided, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it actually has here underneath. I think this may be Kim Basinger
109
as of 2013. But in 2013, she is 125. So that's pretty.
How do they know this? Where have they got this information?
I'm sure that probably has to be up in her like on her casting information. They probably would be like, oh, what?
No. When you're when you're an actor that nobody knows, maybe, right? But when you're Kim Basinger, people aren't going to hire you for the part based on like your weight and stuff.
Yeah, well, maybe they're like, well, there's some grappling hook work involved in this, and we need to see if you're going to be okay for it. Of course, again, going back to the the Arkham games, the grappling hook can take down a building. Like the tensile strength of the thing is insane. But I guess back in '89, it wasn't quite as advanced just then.
The technology's gotten better. He's got better gadgets now. More souped up versions of these gadgets.
Yeah. But my eye is still drawn to bodymeasurements.com here, because it's just like, apparently, again, as of 2013, Kim Basinger dress size 2, height 5'8", and then it just says body shape banana, which is, I don't know.
What?
There is a thing saying, well, I'll click on this and see what this is. Because it has a thing saying explanation for it right here. And amongst the other ones, there's pair of a triangle, inverted triangle, or athletic.
That's what Arnold Schwarzenegger requests in Total Recall, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, athletic.
Yes.
Demure. Yeah. And banana or rectangle.
Where's Blob? Because that's
so
me,
weird.
I think.
Oh, apparently Blob is apple.
Oh, there you go. That'll be me.
There you go.
Yeah. But she's also in this is the very slim figure, a classic supermodel-like look, which seeing as Kim started off as a supermodel.
Yes.
That makes sense, I guess. So, and it also has a little bit of information. Her favorite color is white. And her favorite movie is My Fair Lady. So
it's not Batman. What's wrong with her?
Wow, you can't put your own... Unless it was like Batman 66, maybe. But
Maybe.
I feel we've kind of derailed things by just sort of going into the... We'll have to make up by like looking into Michael Keaton's body stat. Actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to look up.
How much does Michael Keaton weigh?
Yeah, for equality's sake, I think we should definitely research that.
Yeah. You just be like, hey, leave me alone. I had to buy Grappling.
I like the way about 90% of this will have to be cut, but it's fine.
I know.
I like this. This is great.
Michael Keaton age, wait, oh, he's not on.
Come on.
Broadmeasurements.com, apparently.
Well, obviously he won't be on that one, Niall, but there must be a male one. Was it jock measurements? I don't know what they call it.
Celebrity sizes, here we go.
Celebrity sizes.
Yeah, it's a bit more up to date.
I hate that these websites exist.
Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? That not only people are creating these sites for you to look it up, but presumably people are looking it up who aren't us doing podcasts. So.
Yeah.
But let's see. Weight in kilograms, 83 kilograms. Weight in pounds, 183. So, I mean, if anyone was adding the weight there, Batman, I think it was you.
I think it's really him. How much do you think the suit weighs? Do you think that makes a significant difference, too?
It's a lot of...
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of heavy rubber there, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And, although I imagine those Nike boots they're light as anything like that. But yeah,
this episode's sponsored by Nike.
Yeah, but it's 178 in height. Yeah, 42-inch chest. Eye color is blue. Doesn't give you his favorite color or his favorite movie. But yeah. Tragically, that's where CelebritySizes.com needs to pull their weight, I think.
Send them an email.
Let's see. Michael Keaton favorite.
I love that you and I are both doing this in the background at the same time.
I feel left out. I'm the only one not joining in. Oh,
he has pulled one. Michael Keaton, Birdman, maybe my favorite film. You can't have your own movie in there, Michael.
And why is it Birdman and not Batman again? Come on.
I think maybe he's just it's his favorite of his own films. That's fair.
Well, it's funny because the Wikipedia says he now considers Beetlejuice his favorite of his own films.
Oh, he can't decide.
I think when he said Birdman, it was around the time of release. So I think, it might have been a bit more of we have to promote the movie. Oh, what do you know? It's my favorite of my own movies.
I love this movie. It's the best I've ever done.
And then the reporter would be like, I remember when I interviewed you for Herbie Fully Loaded, and you told me that was your favorite of your own movies, Michael.
I mean, now that goes without saying, though. That's all of our favorite films.
But yeah, of course, then we'll take it back to...
yes, Batman.
Yeah, that was... and then, of course, he gets out the... with every Gravity Falls fan will instantly see it and go, grappling hook, because it's a big thing. Gravity Falls fans out there will know what I'm talking about. And of course, one of the shots, the most iconic shots of the film, is him with Vicki by his side as he aims the grappling hook up at the the bridge up above. It was on the back of the VHS cover, as I recall. That was used just constantly. Even today, if you look up this film, that's one of the shots they'll hoist upon you. So
well, if you look as well, if you stop it on the last second, the very last frame even, you can see the look on her face. She genuinely looks terrified as well. I don't know whether that's great acting or she is like, oh my God. Because I presume they I mean, it didn't clarify this in any of the materials I've been through, but I presume they at least lifted her partially off the ground for the shot, if not the full stunt, So she genuinely looks like, oh,
I'm sure there would have been some. I'm sure she would have been safe. We'll put it down to Kim's Oscar-winning acting, So, not for this film, but for later LA Confidential. But it just shows you that she's got the caliber to do so.
Well, to be honest, before we did this show, I would have said, well, she's not a great actress. But going through, doing it the way we are, looking at all these scenes in such detail, I think she's actually doing a really good job. Considering, I mean, acting wasn't her first passion, shall we say.
Yeah.
So she's transferred over really well. I'm surprised. I've really turned a corner.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan now.
Yeah, I mean, well, we talked about it 2 weeks back now with when Claire was on. Yeah, because like all her facial expressions when she's talking to the Joker in the museum, they're great because it's really subtle, like little. You could, it's humorous, but it's also she's terrified and she swings and it's all swings and roundabouts, and she's like, oh, she's killing it in that scene, and she doesn't really get to say much. But Kim is she was pretty good. She was pretty good in this movie. So
and a shame she didn't come back.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best things about doing, like, covering a movie in this format is really getting the time to, like, appreciate everything that's going into it. Because just watching a movie straight through, like, as a passive observer, it is really easy to kind of let go of the, like, subtleties of a performance that we notice when we're really taking our time to, like, look at every minute,
Yeah.
One thing I think I just want to, if you two have the minute open in front of you.
Yeah.
Before we go up into the, it was before he aims as he's getting the grappling hook. Something that really I was very intrigued by is that, as he's asking, how much do you weigh? We see him messing with his belt buckle. And then when the grappling hook appears, it sort of slides out by itself with the actual hook element. He has to put that in. Like, he has to attach it. It's not all fully formed. I'm wondering, like, what do you think's going on there? Do you think he's got like a little mechanism in the belt buckle where, like, when he's asking that, he's putting in, like, how much I'll need, the strength of grapple I'm gonna need, and he's like putting it in, like, I don't know, some 1989 version of like an app or something on his belt.
Yeah.
And then, whatever, the belt's obviously mechanized enough that it actually has a little thing to slide the grapple out to him with the right hook that's next to it. So that's the one he inserts because that's the strength that he needs.
Oh, does it have, like, multiple hook? I thought that maybe he was just, like, he pressed that button because that's the one that makes the grappling hook come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about, like, adjusting for the different, like, whatever strength he needs.
Yeah.
Something
Well,
to that
it could be just as simple as, he just needed, that was just pressing that so the grapple would come out rather than.
Yeah, I thought he was, because it feels more, to me, it feels more like he's asking her as a sort of, like, I think this will be able to handle us.
We'll be fine.
But, because it looks like he's really fiddling with something there, but.
Speaking of his gadgets, I didn't even think about it until, like, letting the movie replay in the background, but, like, does he have, like, a communicator or something? He speaks, like, when he says shields, and then the Batmobile locks down? Like, what? Yeah. How does that happen?
He does have, like, a little like a little microphone thing. Because you see it later on as well when it's next week for us. But, when it's coming towards him and he picks it up and he's like, stop. And it just, it stops right in front of him.
Okay.
Yeah, he does have. But, we don't really think about.
It's funny that it's voice activated. That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I feel like Batman because I've got a smartwatch. So every time I set my alarms for, like, a cup of tea, I'll be like, set an alarm for 3 minutes, and I feel like Batman when it's like, okay, setting your alarm.
I did feel like when John was. Well, it was when you got the Xbox One, wasn't it? When you had, like, because you can do the Xbox off and all of this.
Oh yeah.
I really felt like you were just trying to become some kind of Star Trek character. Where you were just like, computer, do this for me. It's like
basically that is my goal. Yeah.
So you're getting ever so closer. Like if you're setting your a watch for your tea, you could almost be like 3 minutes. By the way, Earl Grey hot, and then just like duck away. I'm like, I'm just saying it. I know I physically have to put the bag in myself, but getting a little closer every time to just being able to say Earl Grey hot, and it just appears.
That's the next. Yeah. That's the next step. I'm more machine now than man.
But in terms of notes for this minute, that's as we said, the car's speeding around the corner, and a flourish is about to happen. But we can talk about that next minute, I guess. So
yeah,
and they're about to ascend into the skies in glory.
if you can call it that.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we'll have to find out on Wednesday's episode if it works or not. Who knows? Maybe Batman's too heavy. Maybe Vicky's too heavy.
I think we spoiled that like several times throughout this already.
Yeah. Shut up, Niall. Shush. They'll forget. They'll forget everything. So before we head off into the dark, dark night, Gary, where can our good listeners find you online?
Yeah, both of the shows that I do, Harry Potter Minute and Ferris Bueller's Minute Off, are available on duelinggenre.com. We should be wrapping up. Actually, by the time this goes up, I think we'll probably be done with Ferris and starting Chamber of Secrets for Harry Potter Minute.
Oh.
So that's going to be, yeah, I think, because this is going up in November, you said, right?
Yeah, there. Well, that'll be.
You've got a while. You're still.
Yeah, it'll be probably like mid.
You're doing 3 episodes.
Yeah, mid to late December or thereabouts. So this will be up. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So yeah, we're definitely in the process of doing Harry Potter Minute at the moment. Then, with Chamber of Secrets, which I'm really excited for. I think season 2 is going to be a lot of fun, so people can go check that out over there. And then you can find me on Twitter at the Gary Roby.
You're one of those sadists like Scott Corelli who like did a thing. And then instead of taking a hiatus, immediately jumped into another project and then got back to the original thing.
Pretty much. I had talked to Victoria when we were doing our first season of Harry Potter Minute. We were talking about like, are there other movies we would want to cover in this format? And Ferris happened to fit perfectly nicely in the hiatus that I had already had planned. If we had had any overlap, I don't think I would have done it.
I'm just imagining now though. By the time you get to like the Deathly Hallows Part 2, it's just gonna be like, this is Gary Roby. Just been able to.
When we started season 1 doing Sorcerer's Stone, I made a joke telling Victoria that like by the time we finish Harry Potter Minute, it'll be just in time to do the 10-year anniversary for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh my God!
I think that might be true.
That'll be great.
Maybe.
Are you planning to do Fantastic Beasts?
I have no idea. I don't even want to think about it. It is so far away. And there's only been I think there's supposed to be 5 of those movies.
Apparently.
They said and I've only seen, I mean, of course the first one's out. I've only seen the first one once, but the entire time I was watching that movie, I was like, "Oh my God, there's so much I want to talk about in here."
Well, you could at the very least, you might end up doing a special or something. So
yeah, I'm sure
we'll find out in 10 years' time. Anyways,
pretty much.
So join us again, listeners, in 10 years, and also join us again on Wednesday because we're going to be back with minute 68. And in the meantime, you can get in touch with us on Facebook at the BatMinute89 Listeners Society, and also send us over a tweet, also at BatMinute89. And yes, we will see you again on Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next time, Plummeting Paladin. As a veil is lifted, our vigilant villain vanquisher takes a tumble. But will the maudlin living myth be unmasked by a mess of moronic miscreants? Find out Wednesday, same Bat Pod.
Different Bat Minute.